Hey, everybody. Welcome to this session, How to Market Your Book with a Homegrown Launch Team. My name is Brooke Adams Law. I'm so glad you're here, and many thanks to Brian for allowing me to be part of Fiction Marketing Academy. So let's dive in. I'm going to share my screen. Dun, dun, dun. All righty. Yes. Okay. So market your book with a homegrown launch team. Let's dive in. Here's what we are going to learn today. So, number one, we're going to talk through two core tenets of book marketing that are super important not to forget, especially as you're learning lots of things during this conference. And the second is to how to set up and run your own launch team. We are going to have some fun. So grab something to drink and get ready to take notes. I'm super excited that you're here. So a little bit about me. My name is Brooke Adams Law. I am the award-winning author of Catchlight, which won the Fairfield Book Prize and was featured on Good Morning America's blog. I am the founder of Writing Brave, which is a book coaching and hybrid publishing company. So let's dive into our topic today. And I want to offer, like I said, start off with these two core tenets of book marketing that we often forget, right? Because it's super fun to learn all the flashy launch strategies like ads and social media and all that good stuff and like do all that stuff. It's all good. But we can't forget these two core tenets, and they really go a long way, but they sound simple. Simple, not easy, and simple, but high leverage. So the other thing I want to say before I jump in is if you don't have time to watch this whole session, go download my free offer, which is called Your Ultimate Launch Team Checklist. You guys, I literally was making this checklist and I was like, should I even give this away for free? Because it's so good. So it literally walks you through every task you need to do if you're going to set up a launch team, and it goes by time, right? So 5 weeks before your launch, do this. 4 weeks before your launch, do this, right? And then there is swipe copy in there, y'all. So it's literally like, this is what your sign up form should look like. These are the fields that you should capture. So these are some sample invitations you could email to people that you know or post on social media to invite them to be on your launch team, right? So I've got all kinds of samples and swipe copy in there, as well as that checklist that goes week by week, the tasks that you need to be doing. So if you don't have time to watch the whole session, go get that. And if you do watch the whole session, still go get it because it will help you implement. So let's dive into first these two core tenets. So the first is and my mouse is sticking, so I see that it's been showing you this the whole time. The first core tenet is to leverage your network. So by this, I mean, like actually, oh, and I just put them in reverse. Let's dive in. No, for real. The first thing I want you to do to leverage your network when you're putting together your book launch plan is to actually sit down and make a list of everyone you know who might be able to help you with your book launch in like any capacity. So I want you to do that first draft run through of people who might be able to help you, or you might be able to ask for favors or connections or different things. And then I want you to review your list with a friend or a family member and see who they come up with that you know that you forgot about or like didn't think of. So when I do this exercise with clients, here is just a few things I have helped them uncover about their connections that they didn't like fully realize. So I have one client who recently published her book. She's a physician, and her book was geared toward other physicians and cancer patients. And as we were talking during her book launch strategy session, she told me that she has a friend who consults for the American Cancer Society. And I was like, now we are going to think about all the things we could ask that friend to connect you with the American Cancer Society, right? Like giving away books at like events, or, giving them to donors, right? So that's sort of something that is in process. But she hadn't even like made that connection until we started having a conversation about it. I had another client who is a former professor, and she told me just in passing one day that one of her former students is on the editorial board of the New Yorker. Just like every author's dream, right? So this client in particular is writing she's searching for an agent for her novel right now, and I'm helping her with that process. And she's trying to place essays to build some buzz around the topic that she has written about, right? So I was like, yes, we will be reaching out to your former student, right? Who's on the editorial board of the New Yorker. Yes, we will. So another client told me also, just in passing, like not even when we were talking about marketing, that her brother works for NPR. So you better believe that when we do her book launch plan, we're going to figure out how to leverage, that ask, right? What to ask her brother for, because he works for NPR, right? So these folks never realized the possible partnership opportunities that they had just from people that they know, right? So I want you to make a list of people, and then again, talk to a family member or friend and have them like add people that you forgot. So if you don't know anyone at the New Yorker, like most of us, don't despair, right? So I want you to also list people like your aunt who works for the local radio station, your college roommate who teaches at a local university and might be interested in having you come and speak to their class, the clerk at the local bookstore who orders all the books that they don't have in stock that you want. And like, you might be able to ask them how events work at the bookstore, or if they would take your book on consignment, or things like that. Right? Your cousin who's a graphic designer and might design custom bookmarks, right? For your launch team. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So just be thinking about like, who are people that you know that might be able to help you in different ways with your launch? And then think about like, what would be the most strategic thing to ask them for? And then ask them. Okay. Core tenet number 2 is to build relationships. So there's a couple things that I want you to think about here. The first thing is build relationships by actually caring about people, right? And invest in people before you need something from them. So let's break this down a little bit more. So the first element is like actually care about humans. Let me go back. And I'm going to tell you a story about how my book landed on Good Morning America's blog during the week that it launched. So I had pitched this woman, Zibby Owens. Some of you may know her. She has a podcast called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. And now she has a bookstore and her own publishing company. And, her business has exploded in the past couple of years. So in any case, like 3 years ago, I pitched her to be on her podcast when my book was coming out. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we scheduled it, and it was like 3 months in advance or something. So then I went and followed her on Instagram, and I proceeded to interact with all of her posts, right? So she posts like almost every day, and I would interact with her posts. I would comment. I would send her an email of just like, oh, I saw this article, it reminded you, right? Like whatever, like just literally being a human, like forming a relationship with her. And then unfortunately her family was struck by this double tragedy, right? So this is summer of 2020. Her husband's grandmother and mother both died of COVID that summer. And it was just devastating. I mean, I didn't know her personally, but I was interacting with her obviously online. And so I saw sort of, she posted a lot of personal things about that as it happened. And I mailed her like a mass card, and she's actually Jewish, but I explained to her, like, I'm Catholic and this is something that we do when people pass away. And I just said, like, I'm so sorry for your loss. That must be so, so difficult. Right. So I was literally just being a human to her. And then I invited her when I was on her podcast. I invited her to come to, at the time, I used to do a weekly live writing time on Monday mornings. And so she came to one of them and wrote with us, which was super fun. And then she writes, I didn't even know this, but she writes Good Morning America's book blog. And like, without even telling me or asking me or anything, she just posted it one day and tagged me. And I mean, the people on this list, y'all, there was like a Sophie Kinsella book on this list. Jerry Seinfeld's memoir was on this list. Like, it was off the hook. And that happened just because I was a human and interacted with her and cared about her, and not because I was trying to get anything, right? I did pitch her, but I was already scheduled for the podcast, and I was just forming a relationship because that's sort of just what I like to do. So be a human by actually caring about people, and you never know what the ripple effects of that are, right? So when you're building your author publishing, network, be really genuine about it. So be a human by actually caring about other people, and like, that's the way to do it. The next piece is right. So forming relationships with people before you need or want something from them. So the Zibby story was a little backwards, right? Because I pitched her first. But if I had started building that relationship, right, commenting, liking her post, sending her a DM of like, oh, I was thinking about this, right? Just sort of, again, being really genuine in my interactions. This would go toward Russell Brunson's Dream 100 strategy. So if you don't know who Russell Brunson is, he is like a huge internet marketer, and I have followed some of his strategies in my business. I would say his book marketing stuff is very specific to entrepreneurs, so may not be super applicable. However, the Dream 100 strategy is brilliant and definitely applies. So, this idea, if you want to implement it, is that you research at least 100 people in your space, right? So, as an author, it would be, right, authors in the genre that you're writing in, as well as editors, agents, right? People who work in the same genre that you are writing in. Maybe you also have, right? So Russell says it's Dream 100, but he often has tabs with like 100 people in my space on YouTube, 100 people in my space on Facebook, right? Whatever. So you can decide how ambitious you want to be. But you might also look at 100 people who are booksellers or like librarians in your area, in your state, in your, general area. You can find these folks online and then figure out like where do they hang out? Like, are they on X, formerly known as Twitter? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Reddit? And just sort of figuring out like where do they hang out? Where do they talk to each other? And then make an actual spreadsheet list of them and then start going and interacting with their stuff, right? So, but don't do it because you need something from them in the next like couple of weeks. Start interacting and forming relationships with them before you need something, right? So, if you're here because your book is launching next month, this strategy will be like for your next book. Right. So, but the idea is to start forming relationships. And then, like, after you've interacted with these folks for a long time and built up some of that goodwill, right, you could maybe ask them for something like to post about your book or to have you on their podcast or whatever it might be, right? But you want to form those relationships and be interacting with folks right before you need something from them. Okay, let's dive into launch team strategy. Oh my gosh, my mouse, it keeps sticking. So, a lot of this, I wanted to say, a lot of the way that this strategy is set up was taught to me by my friend Brad Beard, and he is a longtime publishing executive. He's the founder of Wadestone Inc., which is a book coaching and kind of pub coaching to get a traditional book deal company. And Brad taught me a lot of these strategies, and then I implemented them when my book Catchlight came out. So before we dive in, like I said at the beginning, make sure you get access to my free offer, which is your ultimate launch team checklist. Like I said, that's going to walk you through week by week every task you need to be doing. And then also it has a ton of swipe copy in there. Go get it. It's amazing. Like I'm still questioning my decision to give it away for free. So go grab it. So, what a launch team is, it's basically like a street team of people who know you, right? So, these are family, friends, acquaintances who are willing to read an early ebook copy of your book in exchange for posting about it during launch week and leaving a review on the day your book comes out. So these are folks who want to celebrate and support you, right? These are not the strangers we were just talking about with Dream 100. These are like people who know you and are really excited for you that your book is coming out. So the purpose of a launch team is threefold, right? It's to get pre-orders. So these folks are also going to commit to pre-ordering your book. It's number two, to get reviews on Amazon on the day your book releases. And number three, to build up some social media buzz. So I will just say well, I'll go into that detail in a minute. So who this is good for, I would say it's especially good if you're a new author, but it also works for experienced folks. It's great if technology is like a little intimidating to you. Like if you're like, I am not ready yet to learn book ads. This is a great starting point, right? And it can't be the only marketing strategy you do, but it's great to slot in with other strategies you might be doing. I think it gives you a lot of connection. It, again, gets those reviews on Amazon on the first day. It's really fun. Like I had so much fun doing my launch team. And it also helped me manage my emotions because launching is like an emotional roller coaster. So super good for that. I will also say that In the grand scheme of things, it's relatively simple to pull off in that, right? Your goal is to get like something like 25 or 30 pre-orders, like right off the bat. And it's to get like 25 or 30 4 or 5 star reviews on Amazon, like on launch day. And it's like, if you follow the steps, you will get that result, right? So this is not like a strategy like pitching media where you're going to do a bunch of work and you're not sure how it's going to pan out. Like this is something where if you execute according to the task list, like you will get the result of like, 20 to 30 pre-orders, 20 to 30 reviews on launch day, 20 to 30 social media posts on launch day, right? You'll get that result as long as you follow the steps. So, how it works, right, is you get 20 to 30 people who know you, right? Again, these are not the strangers you're researching and starting to form relationships with. These are people who already know and love you. They agree, like I said, to pre-order. They're going to agree to read an early ebook copy of the book. And then they're going to pledge to post a review on Amazon and Goodreads, hopefully on release day, and they're going to post about the book on social media. I like to invite people to post like 2 or 3 times in the first maybe 2 weeks of your book launching. In exchange, let me go back. Oh my goodness, the silly mouse. In exchange, you offer them some goodies, and we're going to dive into what these are. But basically, you're going to offer them stuff from different categories, which includes book swag, exclusive content, and some time that's like exclusively with you, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's super fun. So, the first thing you're going to do when you decide to do a launch team is you're going to set up a form where they can sign up, right? So, I did mine in Google Forms, but you can also use something like Typeform or SurveyMonkey. You're going to collect obviously their name and email address, but you also want to collect their physical mailing address because you're going to mail them some actual physical swag, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then you want to actually have them check off and agree to the different terms, right? So I agree to pre-order. I agree to, read the advanced ebook copy, and post a review, right? So if you go get the free offer in the ultimate launch team checklist, I actually have the swipe copy of like what fields you want on the form. So, but those are the main ones. So then once you set up your form where they can sign up, you're going to decide on your goodies, right? So what do they get in exchange for doing basically all this work for you? Even though they love you and want to support you, right? You want to do something fun for them. So I recommend choosing 1 or 2 things from each of these 3 categories, right? So swag, you could do something like custom bookmarks that have, your book that are designed to, coordinate with your book cover. You could do an autographed book plate, which is literally like a big sticker. And you can buy them online, or I actually just printed myself. I went to Staples and I got a bunch of like blank labels that were about this big, like shipping size labels. And then I printed on them like signed by the author, right? And then I autographed each one. So that's a really good way to basically like they stick that on the front of the book. If you aren't able to do signed copies, that's a really good alternative. If you can do signed copies, do that, right? Another example of swag that I've seen folks do recently, which is so fun, is to get custom cookies made with a picture of your book cover on them. So that could be really cute. Like each person could get a custom cookie, right? So just pick one swag item and you could, send those to folks. The second category is exclusive content, right? So this is something that no other readers are going to get access to, right? So this could be chapters of your book that were cut from the final draft. It could be like a prequel story or a novella that you're not selling elsewhere, or maybe you plan to sell it in the future, but it's not available yet. It could be like literally your notes or structure map, any artwork you've done of the characters or the world, right? Something exclusive that other people don't get access to. People love this stuff, right? So for my launch team, I gave away the first 3 chapters of my book Catchlight, which were ended up being cut from the final draft. And it's a stronger book for having cut those chapters, but there were like some little details in there that after they had read like the final version of the book, right, I gave them the exclusive content, and people really liked sort of seeing that window into how I might have started the book instead. So the final category is access to you, right? So this could look like a virtual or in-person kind of launch team party. It could be kind of an after launch Q&A where they get to ask you questions about the book. It could be, I really like to do a private Facebook group where you go live during launch week, or right, they have sort of like this exclusive access to you in some way, shape, or form. So choose one or two things from each category, at least one thing from each category, and those will be sort of your fun goodies that you are giving to folks who participate. So the next step is to invite people to be on your launch team, right? So you're going to invite them to that form and you're going to use the goodies as, the carrot to draw them in. So don't be shy, right? Because these are your people. So post wherever you're active, most active on social media. You might email or text like friends and family, inviting them to join in. I emailed a couple people, like I knew somebody, I was friends or friendly with the librarian at the library before I moved away. And so I invited her. Like, so they were just like people that like to read, who are really excited about your book. And like I said, don't be shy. And I might also say, like, first of all, you might include something if you're like nervous, you might include something in the invitation that says, like, if this isn't for you, no worries, right? So give them an out. Like you could say, do you know any other folks who really like to read who would love to be part of the launch team, right? People, though, feel super honored to be part of an author's launch team. And I will just say, I was really surprised by some of the people that signed up for mine, right? So there was someone from my church who I didn't even know that she liked to read, and she was like so gung ho about it, right? A friend of mine who had moved away, who I hadn't talked to in like probably a year. My best friend's mom, whom I've known for like 25 years, but we're not really necessarily in each other's day-to-day orbit. But she signed up, right? So you might be surprised by who signs up, but in a good way. So it's really fun. So invite folks to sign up on the forum. You want to kind of monitor it. 20 to 30 people is a really good size. If it gets beyond 30, it can be really hard to manage. So I would say 20 to 30 is a really good number. So be monitoring the forum responses to make sure you don't get too many. The next step is to send out an ARC, right, which is an advanced reader copy. And you're going to send that as an ebook, right? That's the easiest way to do it. Unless if you feel like springing for like 25 extra physical copies of the book and you have them, you want to do this at least 3 weeks before launch day. If your book is really long, maybe like 4 weeks before. The other thing I will say is it's great to have these people pre-order, right? So what I did for mine is people would sign, they would sign up on the forum and they would say, like, I agree to pre-order, I agree to post a review, I agree to post on social media, whatever. And then they would submit that. And then the next screen would be like, great, go pre-order your copy of my book and then email me your receipt. And as soon as they had emailed me their pre-order receipt, I would send them the ebook advanced reader copy, right? So they pre-order first, then they get the advanced ebook copy, but then they're also going to get like a physical book. So it's kind of fun. I used NetGalley to deliver the ebook, the advanced reader copy ebook. You can also use, like, if you have a PDF of the book, you could have folks send that to their Kindle device, or if they don't have a Kindle device, they can download the Kindle app on their tablet, phone, or computer. And if you send the PDF to the app, it reads like an ebook. It doesn't read like a PDF, which is really nice. So if you aren't able to use NetGalley or something similar to deliver the ebook advanced reader copy, you could use a PDF and again, just have people send it to their Kindle app. There's a way to do it. You can't just send it to their email. They have to look up, they have like a Kindle email address, but you can Google how to do that. It's not that hard. All right. So you're sending ebook ARCs. And then while they're reading the book, right, you're setting these other plans in motion. So you're going to order your swag that you've decided on. You're going to prep your exclusive content. You're going to schedule and plan any launch celebrations that you might be doing. You're going to answer questions from the launch team as they come up. You're going to check in to make sure folks are reading the book and that they know, they need to be done by launch day to have that review up on Amazon, like as soon as possible. You want to set up your Facebook group if you're doing one. It's a really fun way to kind of keep people's energy up. If you don't like Facebook, I have seen folks use something like Mighty Networks, but not as many people are on that, right? So Facebook is often the easiest. If you don't want to do it, of course you don't have to, but it can be really fun to be like posting stuff there first, like, oh my gosh, I got your bookmarks in the mail. Or like when I got the first physical copies of my book, I did an unboxing video and I posted it there first before I posted it everywhere else. Right. So it's just kind of fun. Like they get access to stuff first. You might go live in there like once a week until just to like keep people's energy up and keep them excited. And the last thing you're going to be doing during all of this is preparing swipe copy and graphics that they can use to post on social media. So, like I said before, if you go get my free offer, which is your ultimate launch team checklist, that has actual swipe copy in there. So, I'm actually in the checklist, there is a link to my launch team swipe copy document that I set up for my launch team. So it has like I think it has actually 4 or 5 posts in it. And I also give you some sample graphics that I gave them and what kinds of graphics, right? So quote teasers, like teasers from the book are really fun. You can invite them to take a picture of where they're reading the book, right? So I have some different examples of like graphics that I created and then also things that I invited them to like again take photos of themselves. So that's in the checklist. So go get it. You want to keep reminding people obviously to finish reading, keep their energy up. All right. So, oh my gosh. I need a new mouse, y'all. I'm going to use my arrows on my computer. I should have done that before. Okay. So on launch week, yay, it's launch week. So you're going to remind folks to post their reviews on Amazon and hopefully on Goodreads, if they're on Goodreads, on launch day. So what you want is for like the day your book comes out for like 25, hopefully 4 or 5-star reviews to hit on Amazon, right? So a couple notes about this. Amazon does not currently, as far as I know, at least this was the case the last time I checked, they do not allow folks to post reviews before the book's official release day, right? Also note that you do not have to have purchased the book on Amazon in order to leave a review, right? So in fact, I would encourage you to encourage your launch team to purchase the book from bookshop.org or their local bookstore, right? But then they can still post a review on Amazon, even though they haven't purchased the book on Amazon. So that's important for you to know and to make that clear to them. So also during launch week, you want to give them access to their exclusive content, right? I waited until launch day to kind of build their anticipation, which was super fun. You're going to invite them to post on social media and tag you. So like on launch day, hopefully, and then also maybe like 2 other times in the next week or 2. And I will pause here and say that like people don't need to have a huge social media presence to make this work, right? So it's part of like blanketing your wider network with people posting about the book, right? So this doesn't have to be like you're not asking necessarily like authors who have a huge following. Like again, these are people who know and love you. Maybe they have a Facebook profile where they like post pictures of their cats. Like that's perfect. They don't need to have a big social media presence. It's more about the reviews and also again just like building up a larger number of people who are posting about the book. So then the other important thing is I want you to use their social media posts on your social media profile, right? So for example, you can reshare or share their posts to your stories. If you're using Instagram, you can download photos that they post with the book to use again as like a carousel post, or you could do add those to your stories, or you could do kind of like a grid, do like a collage basically of all these different people reading the book, which is really fun. You can also take screenshots of their posts or their reviews and use them again for stories or posts. So be using like leverage their posts to give you to like, you're then showing your following, like, look, all these people are posting about my book, right? So it works kind of both ways. All right. Post launch week. You're going to do your live time with them, whatever that looks like. So in my case, I did sort of like an after action party or like a launch wrap party. And I did it about 3 weeks after the book officially came out. And we sort of like, I had a glass of champagne. I did it on Zoom because it was full pandemic when I was doing all of this. Um, and I had people sort of ask me questions about the book, and it was just really fun. And, we just celebrated together. So make sure you mail their swag. I kind of put those together. Mail their swag, right? So with a thank you note, they get their custom bookmark or their book plate or whatever it is. Double check that everyone's posted their reviews, and you might do like a gentle nudge if there's always going to be people who are, missed the day or maybe didn't quite finish the book in time. So, just a gentle nudge like, hey, post your review, please and thank you. And then as other folks in your life are texting you or calling or emailing to tell you how much they love your book, because that will happen, ask them to post a review also, right? So you want to kind of use folks to review. Okay, so as we wrap up, like I said before, this can't be the only launch strategy that you do, but it's great to slot in alongside other things. Like I really like for authors to have like 4 to 5 main strategies that they're doing and really focus on those. And this is such a fun one, you guys. So like have fun doing this. It's also accessible, right? So I know you have 20 people in your life who will want to support you and celebrate you, right? And again, when you have those 4 or 5 marketing components or tactics that you're working on, they kind of work together synergistically. And like I said, this is a really fun one. So as we wrap up, like I said, go get your copy of the Ultimate Launch Team Checklist. It goes through week by week exactly the tasks you need to be doing, and it has all that great swipe copy. So, in any case, my name is Brooke Adams Law. Thank you again so much for spending this time with me. Good luck with your launch team. Have fun marketing your book, and take care.